What's going on, Buffs Nation? Hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the tight end position. Of course, it's been a little while since I've talked about the tight end position. It's been a little while since I talked about Tim Brewster, but luckily enough, I'm sure some of you saw this, Tim Brewster did an interview with the Sports Forum, which is a local Denver sports platform out here associated with Mile High Sports. They're run by really awesome guys, Riggs, John Kay. He's been someone that I've been able to ask a lot of advice and seek wisdom from. He's awesome, so please go subscribe to their channel. I'll leave it in the description. I love this interview with Tim Brewster because, of course, whenever he speaks, I always just feel inspired. I always feel encouraged, and I'm not even on the football team. You know, a lot of people give, I don't know, maybe it's Florida State people sometimes, that he's here, or with Minnesota, but it seems like people want to find reasons to kind of crap on Tim Brewster, and I just don't get it. I understand that he didn't have the best or much success as a head coach at University of Minnesota, but it's clear the man can really coach the tight end position, and it's clear that he can recruit. Now, this has been pretty interesting because we haven't brought in any big-time tight end transfers since Zico left, and that was a big get by us in December, but of course you know by now all that happened, and we're kind of at the point right now where we have some scholarship tight ends here. We have some walk-on tight ends that have either transferred here from other schools or that have already been here on the roster, and it was really cool to hear him talk about walk-on tight end Michael Harrison. Now, he's 6'3", came in a lot lighter than what he's at now. He's at 225 pounds, came in as a wide receiver, played in 2020, 2021. I don't think he got on the field last year, but he brings great size, and it was awesome to hear him, Coach Brewster that is, speak so highly about Michael Harrison, saying that he's the strongest tight end he has right now in the weight room. And hopefully he can continue to put on a little bit of that weight because he's going to have to throw it around here on the field. Now, I do like that this tight end group is kind of developing this blue-collar type of look and feel to it. I mean, nothing's given. Everything is earned, as it is for the rest of the team, but it feels a little bit different for the tight ends just because we don't have those big-time transfers coming in here on scholarship or anything like that right now. And it's going to be fun to see kind of who elevates themselves to put themselves in, the starting position to be one of those top two tight ends, because we will use a lot of two tight end sets here in the Sean Lewis system. But I think he's got some receiving chops, 4.5 speed. That's what Tim Brewster mentioned. And so he's going to be somebody that can stretch the field. And I know that, including myself, we've mentioned how the Sean Lewis offense might be a deterrent for other tight ends coming here just because there isn't that historical data of them utilizing the tight end or saying that the scheme is it really just wants the tight ends to block. And I understand that. I think it's valid. I think that might be a reason why, for instance, somebody like Keelan Fox is choosing to go to UCF rather than CU right now. But I don't want to let the staff off that easily. I think if you have the right athletes at the tight end position, I mean, your offense is better off when you're lining up and you don't know what that tight end is really going to do. Want to continue to throw them different looks and be unpredictable. And when you've got tight ends that can do both the blocking and the receiving, our offense is going to be better. And that's what I want to see. I think some people have said, well, that's why they haven't brought in a tight end that could stretch the field. No, we brought in Zico. But he couldn't block. And here in this system, you have to be able to be a well-rounded tight end. You have to be able to fit that mold, so to speak, of George Kittle, who he has spoken about. But, I mean, Tim Brewster has made it work with other tight ends as well. I mean, look at Kyle Pitts. I mean, he was mainly running as a receiver at Florida and did a little bit of tight end stuff, So it's not like Tim is against these guys that maybe are more naturally geared towards the receiving game. No, but I do think he wants to see this group be well-rounded, and I don't have an issue with that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Michael Harrison. He's somebody that I didn't hear about before last week, if I'm being completely honest. But 6'3", 225, hopefully he can put on a little bit more weight before the fall. But man, I'm really interested to see how they use him. And I know that we've spoken on this before, but I don't think Javon Antonio is going to be a tight end. No way. I don't think so. I don't think he would have come in here if that were to be the case. That man is destined to be a star wide receiver in this offense. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this group comes together. I think if I'm able to, they open up any of the fall practices to the public or anything like the Broncos do, it's going to be definitely a priority of mine if I'm there, to check out to see how this tight end competition is going, because it's completely up in the air. We got somebody like Louis Passarello, Caleb Fourier. We have Elijah Yelverton, I believe is his name, preferred walk-on transfer. We got Michael Harrison. So we got some size, and I would like to see the tight end used in this offense coming up this year. But of course, our big-time weapons and wide receivers, or weapons, that is at the wide receiver position and the running back position. We got a handful of guys that can receive as well. So I want to know your thoughts on all this. I was really encouraged. I mean, again, he talked about, Tim Brewster that is, Michael Harrison becoming one of the top tight ends in the Pac-12. And I would love to see that. Now, he's been here for a little bit, but that doesn't mean he still doesn't have any upside. I mean, these guys are still in their early 20s. They got plenty of room to grow. Some of them are late bloomers, and I mean, we see tight ends transition from playing basketball after their college careers, going into the NFL and being successful. Of course, the most notable, I think, out of that is Antonio Gates. Did Tony Gonzalez play football or basketball? I don't think so. But this tight end position, if you have the athleticism and you have the desire, you can be successful if you're putting in the right work to learn technique, to learn the game, and overall just grind more than everybody else around. You know what I'm saying? So I think that about wraps it up for today. I wish I could have grabbed some 24/7 information or like huddle, but I wasn't really able to find it. And I guess if I had it anyway, Michael Harrison, it's kind of irrelevant with him graduating 3 years ago. So he's a different athlete now. So I'm really excited to see him, to see what he can do entering the season. But y'all let me know, like, what are you thinking in terms of the depth chart for this room? Right now, it's a huge question mark for me. I guess if I had to put money on it, I'd put Passarello on there, just because he was the one starting the spring game. So I appreciate your time. Y'all be sure to hit that like. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's going to help spread this out to other Buffs fans. And as always, go Buffs.